Let's bring in the aforementioned criminal defense attorney, Brian Claypool, to break all of this down for us. And, it's interesting, Brian, this guy Davidson that Caitlin was talking about that was on the stand today, we'll talk about the gag order in a minute, but this guy Keith Davidson, their basic argument that the defense is making is this is kind of a sleazy guy. If you have some dirt on a celebrity, this is the guy you go to, and he'll shake down the celebrity and get you some money. So they're trying to, seems to me, get at his credibility with that. And then they're trying to say he worked with Cohen, and the two of them got together and did these payoffs, whether it was McDougal or Stormy Daniels. And that, I guess, strategically, they're trying to separate Trump from it. What do you make of all this?
Hey, Connell, great to be back with you. Have you ever heard that old adage, you reap what you sow, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening to the prosecution on this case, right? Did they really need to call Keith Davidson, right? If I'm prosecuting this case, I'm asking myself in the back of my mind, what's going to go wrong, right? What information could come out that's going to hurt my case if I call this witness? Do I really need this witness to testify at trial to prove my case? And here, I think you're seeing that. What the prosecution is sowing is, as Caitlin said, an unsavory backroom bargaining that's going on where celebrities are being, allegedly extorted. And that bodes well for Trump's defense, right? Because, and then separating Trump from Cohen. And what I'm not hearing in any of this testimony from Keith Davidson is the precise elements that the prosecution's got to prove. To remind your viewers, got to prove that Trump commanded or ordered somebody to falsify financial statements. That's the first element, with an intent to interfere with the election. And I think the prosecution's getting a little off track by calling witnesses like this.
That's a very interesting point, because you're right. Yeah, they're trying to build up to something, but you have to be careful, to your point about it doesn't backfire on you. And this guy comes up and maybe it did. Now, he's just been excused, just as you were talking. We got an alert from the courthouse that said he's done. And they just called a new witness who's the supervising computer forensic analyst at the DA's office in New York, a guy by the name of Douglas Dowse, D-A-U-S. So he's just up there. Forensics and how that all plays into this. Do you have any idea what might be going on here, Brian, or what the prosecution's trying to establish?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I think it might have something to do again with payments, right? I had me on a few days ago, and they had a banker on, like they're talking about payments. But I will tell you this, though, Colin, I may not know what this guy has to say, but I know what he will not say, right? And that's important. Again, he's not going to have any information on the elements of the crimes that the prosecution's got to prove. And look, if this is purely, strictly a legal analysis, prosecution's not proving up the case. But that said, though, there is some danger for President Trump as well. Why do I say that? Because, look, this jury is hearing about a lot of really nefarious backroom deals that involve President Trump and Michael Cohen. And look, at the end of the day, Connell, what I think is going on here, just to call it how I see it, I think what the prosecution really wants to have happen here is what's called juror nullification. What does that mean? You want the jury to really ignore that maybe you haven't proved the elements of the law, right? But they're so emotionally driven and motivated to rule in favor of the prosecution because they dislike the defendant.
That's interesting as well. Final thing, want to get your view on this whole gag order situation. Of course, the fines aren't much, but if he keeps it up, the former president, there's the idea that he could go to jail at some point, 4 more violations, see all the illegal penalties he's faced. So when you got 175 million or 91 million in other cases, I think no matter what, Donald Trump's going to be all right with 9,000 or a few more thousand if these other 4, depending on how they rule on this. But here's a little compilation of the alleged violations, these other 4, the things he said and what they're accusing. And I want you to say whether this is in violation of the order. Listen.
And when are they going to look at all the lies that Cohen did in the last trial? He got caught lying in the last trial. So he got caught lying, pure lying.
That jury was picked so fast, 95% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area. It's a very unfair situation.
Well, Michael Cohen is a convicted liar, and he's got no credibility whatsoever.
When you thought of David Pecker's testimony so far, when was the last time you spoke to him?
No, he's been very nice. I mean, David's been very nice. He's a nice guy.
So you're not allowed to talk about the witnesses, right, or potential witnesses. So even with David Pecker there, he says he's nice. That could be a violation, right? And the stuff about Cohen, I mean, it's funny to say, but what do you think?
Well, I think of those 4 clips you showed, 1 and 3, I'm not good with memorizing things.
Yep.
Just forget people's first names too. But the 1 and 3 talking about witnesses, right? Lying, right? You can't do that. That's clearly a violation of the gag order. 1 and 3 talking about the jury being 95% Democratic. I don't think that's a violation.
Right.
The Pecker comment, I don't think that's a violation as well. But look, Connell, at the end of the day, I don't care if this is a former president or not. You know, I've done over 50, 60, 70 jury trials. You have to respect the decorum of a courtroom. When you're told by a judge that there's an order in place that you've got to follow, I don't think it's doing former President Trump any good to do this. Do you really think that these jurors may not ever find out about these gag order violations? They might find out. We'll never know. But if they do, they might think, why is this guy disrespecting the court? Why is he acting this way? And that might not bode very well for former President Trump when this jury's deliberating.
Yeah, and you think otherwise he's in a pretty good position. So that even drives home the point further, I think. Brian, thank you as always. Brian Claypool on that.